I'm going home and having a Amy's bean and cheese burrito and then going to bed.
Okay, so we will resume our meeting at 9:31.
At 9:31?
Okay, so we left off at our
Criteria.
Criteria.
I also think, actually, no, sorry. Do I get to try that?
No. If you're not using your mic, it won't pick up the sound. So please use your
That's
mic.
new.
Okay. No, I was thinking actually another really great criteria, because we have such a large EL population, having someone with some type of experience, like working with all types of like student populations, would probably be an asset as well. But just a thought.
My only concern, I mean, I support that in maybe the full-time
Yeah.
superintendent or something further. My only concern is if we're looking at, that might limit our pool too much. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. And you guys might have a little more experience.
Well, having
Just
a
because they
a
tend to be
retired
older
administrator that
generation.
has more experience working within a district with
Oh, okay, sorry.
oh no, that's okay.
I
No.
misunderstood what you said.
I kind of went specific and then went a little bit more general. So just multiple student populations.
Experience working in districts with multiple
Yeah.
student populations.
Yes.
I agree with that.
That was
Sorry.
more
I
as
thought
I was
I
more specific to begin with,
misinterpreted what you said.
which was my bad. I think that's a good
I was
criteria
just
list.
say, does anyone have
Yeah.
any last
I know. Do we think
ones?
that
I don't want to limit it too
sufficient?
much to where we literally get no applicants
I
or
agree.
people that fall under this criteria. Is everybody comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay, so do we want to move on now to
Documentation.
documentation?
When we call up the interims, what would we ask them to submit for consideration?
Well, definitely resume.
Oh, yeah, I would say resume to start.
Resume,
Cover letter,
Cover
resume,
letter.
references.
how many references?
And letters of reference.
Do you
Sorry,
want
Letters of recommendation.
letters of recommendation? How many? I feel like I'm taking an order right now.
I know
Sorry.
I do not have experience with
I don't
hiring,
know
so
that
I'm
you
not quite.
specify how many letters of
I don't know
No,
if
I
you do
think
either.
it's,
but
what can
references,
be
I
provided?
think
I would
you
say
could
3.
provide.
Yeah,
I know
is
3
standard.
sounds like a good number, but
Yeah, no, I will say just even in the private sector, 3 is pretty standard.
So
letters
three
of
references. 3 references or letters of reference?
They're two different things
Yeah,
Letter of
so-
recommendation is different than the,
than a reference.
so
that
3
you
letters of
call.
reference
Yeah.
is what we.
So how many references?
I'd say 3.
3. And how many letters of recommendation?
I would leave that as is. I don't, unless anyone has any other opinion.
So I just imagine being like, hi, welcome, thank you so much. Would you please submit a letter, and please submit a letter of recommendation?
And as
What?
many as you would like.
Or, I'm just trying to think, if we don't give a number of letters of
One or
recommendation.
more.
Just be like, hey, I would really appreciate it if you can send me over
I mean, I feel like
a
we've
letter of
seen ones
recommendation.
that submit 10.
Okay.
I mean, we could say 3 again, but
I'm
Yeah, I
fine.
don't
Once
think we
you-
put a number on it.
once you get them, then you'll see like how current they are.
Okay.
or who they're getting their
Who
letters
they're getting them
from,
from.
which would be telling.
So we have, sorry, I keep going over it.
No, go ahead.
Resume, cover letter, references, 3 letter of rec, social security number,
I know, bank account information.
bank account.
I think that would be if they actually were offered the position.
And again, the more we ask for interim, the longer this potentially takes.
Well, I think for this, I think this right here for the paper screening, for the 2 trustees to go over and
Rank.
go through them and then to bring
We'll
them
be
back.
able to vet pretty
Right.
well, yeah.
Thinking about this, I mean, we'll decide on 2 trustees. Do we want to determine questions for the interview or to interview them that we have for them?
Not
Can we-
tonight.
Not
can,
tonight.
no.
Well, I'm just thinking, what if we?
I
I
would
mean,
agree with you.
fast timeline. We got until 11:59, but
We also
I appreciate your.
Have done it where
Every trustee brings a question forward.
we would have to have that at a separate board meeting
Yeah.
because we can't submit it because that would be a violation of the
Brown
Brown
Act.
Act. Because it'd be, I'd submit it to 2 trustees, that'd be 3 people.
Right.
So it would have
Yeah.
to be either at a special board meeting unless whoever, the, trustees are that are doing the
The 2
screening.
trustees that are doing the screening can get past examples of questions.
So the 2
And
trustees.
then at a board meeting, we can finalize the list. Is that
Of
what you're
questions?
saying?
So the 2
So
trustees.
the 2 trustees can work together on a list.
Okay. So also.
But the rest of us can't.
And that's for the interview.
What's our target for how many are coming forward?
I was thinking about that and looking at the criteria and rubric and seeing how many meet the criteria, highest pointage would come forward.
I would like 5 to 10. Is that
For
a lot?
interim?
Or here, I'm
For
looking at like 3
interview?
to 5.
3 to 5. I mean,
I'm
that's
thinking
fine.
3 to 5.
Whatever.
But again, I mean, I.
Oh, I'm
seriously
sorry.
have
I'm
no
just
basis of
looking at the
comparison, so-
paper, like at least
No,
that much, and then narrowing it down
Yeah.
from there. Sorry.
are you asking about the paper screening or are you asking about the
I'm
actual interview?
asking step 2, how many candidates are the 2 board members bringing forward to the board for an interview? Not how many you're paper screening at all.
Yeah.
I would say screen as many that
Yeah.
get turned in.
Yeah.
Screen 100.
But I would say if it's just an interim, I would say I agree 3 to 5.
And we have a pretty comprehensive list of like the qualifications and whatnot. So then I feel it would just be kind of more are obviously questions that we're going to bring, and we would get a feel for, you know, it's already kind of been whittled down. So therefore, I would think 3 to 5 would probably be sufficient. But
That again is just my.
Okay.
So bringing 3 to 5 to the rest of the board for consideration.
To schedule an interview.
Well, then we do board interviews.
Right, but I was just simplifying that.
Yeah.
3 to 5 to the board for consideration,
Then
and
we
then
do.
we would deliberate then after interviewing them.
Is that what you meant?
Bring 3 to 5 to the board for interviews.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Any,
What about? What about? I mean, do we need? Are they going to ask about salary and benefits and term And do we need to have something for the board members that are talking to them to say?
I mean, I don't know if we really want that to be, I don't know. Do we want to predetermine that, or
Can you tell us? how that
what is
happens?
standard?
I want to totally respect the process, but I'm like, so one concern I have is that it's gonna be so cumbersome that it's gonna take a long time, and you guys have a lot of other work to do around this. Often with interims, it's a condensed process. It isn't like a big search and a bunch of interviews, because unfortunately, many of them can take or leave whatever job they want. It's a seller's market. So if you find two who you really like, interview two, you may not get five. Usually it's a daily rate. They're not asking about benefits. A lot of them may be old enough that they aren't worried about benefits, but usually it's just a flat daily rate, which is what we negotiated when we had an interim principal. It was, I can't remember what it was, $500 or $600 a day. It would be more than that, anywhere between probably $7,000 and $1,000 a day. And it's almost like contract work. It's like a sub rate, right? So, and you're contracted for a set number of days, not to exceed. So, they might work 5 days a week, one, and they're not taking time off. They would be putting their days on a timesheet. So, very much like a sub. So, I don't think you have to worry about. There might be someone who said, "Can you put me on your health plan?" That would be very unusual, and you can negotiate that. But I don't think that's something you're going to have to worry about. I think it's gonna be like a daily rate on a timesheet, pay me.
So I think, I would feel comfortable going forward with, picking, screening, interviewing a couple, collaborating as a board who we feel most comfortable going with, and then negotiating with that person at that time. Is that what is, I don't.
And SCO is a good resource to call and say, what's the going rate,
For which,
and they can tell you for a superintendent is X, just so you have a ballpark.
just
You
for
can
an
take-
expectation, yeah.
Mhm.
I would be fine with that.
And as everyone knows, so $49,000 right now is the STRS cap, so they haven't been working for retired STRS employees. So they haven't been working much, and I don't know if it's July 1 to June 30th, or if it's, January through December, but we can find that out. But regardless, that's their cap. So getting someone who hasn't done a lot of interim work for the whole spring would be great, but but that's kind of part of the equation, is the daily rate, $49,000, how many days
Right.
a week?
Well, and I think,
Oh, I was just gonna say, and the reason for working full spring is because the likelihood that someone would be available in April is not, wouldn't be available potentially until July 1.
Right.
unless, well, and I feel like that there's a way to freeze your retirement, right, let's say it justified the means for someone to freeze their retirement, that's something that could happen,
They
right?
can come out of retirement, but then that's a whole different thing.
It would have to, yes.
And that's where
My-
I probably
yeah,
don't understand STRS.
Current, yeah, it would have to be well worth their while for them to freeze their retirement. Like, we would have to be,
Okay.
making it very, very sweet in order for them to be able to do that.
Sometimes people do that to take a new job. They'll be like, I retired, now I'm going back to work, I'm going to freeze my retirement, but usually not for a position like this.
Mhm.
Right,
So what happens in some districts, as I mentioned, is you might need two.
right. I'm just being hopeful, it'd be nice to just have one
Yes.
through the process.
I'm more on the cynical end, unfortunately, but I'm hoping for the best, preparing in my brain
And
for.
if you
Yeah.
only had one, maybe they're only working 3 days a week, and you wouldn't need anyone,
Right.
or you would potentially have somebody who would, what were we talking about before?
Freeze their retirement.
The public can't hear you, but
Oh.
Sorry.
because the mics are not.
I was just saying that if you did hire an interim and you wanted to have them there for the whole spring,
That's fair.
then you would maybe wouldn't need them here every day. Maybe they're only working 3 days. And then maybe if you had to, what was the word we said before? Appoint or ask somebody to
Be designated as the point of
designated,
contact.
but then that person might say, well, if I'm going to do that these other days, I want to negotiate a salary for that position. So then there's that whole side of it.
Yeah.
I am comfortable with what we have created here for the first step. I don't know how everyone else feels, and I want to make sure I capture everyone else's opinions. I just feel like the next step is just picking the 2 trustees that are going to go do all the work. And I know I am willing to do this. If anyone has
And
any,
I nominate Trustee Lopez White as one of the trustees.
I'll second.
Thank you. We'll record this. Hold on. Sorry. Do you want to do it in one motion and decide
Sure.
the 2? Would that be better?
Yes, I was just saying yes.
Okay.
What other trustees would like to?
I don't know if anyone else.
It's like that whole avoid eye contact, so that you don't necessarily commit to anything.
I would appreciate a teacher's perspective too. And the 3 of you would want.
Trustee
No, I would
Mendoza
appreciate
Torres was
anyone
taking a lot of
else's
notes
view,
over there.
but if anyone wants to throw their hat in the ring.
Should we all just throw shampoo for it?
I think you.
Does anyone not want to be nominated? Let's just say that. Does anyone just absolutely not want to do it?
I already did my time.
Okay,
That's
so
where I know I'm like,
any of the 3 of you left.
or Jackie.
I at this for interim, I would not. Are we deciding who's doing both interim and superintendent, or are we
No, I
just
think
doing
just the
interim?
process. Just getting this, and we'll have.
So then we're gonna need to
I
bring
will
it
do it.
back.
I will do
Thank
it.
you. Good
Okay,
job.
so I
Trustee
would
Way
like
to
to
jump in.
make a motion that Trustee Candelario Orr and Trustee Lopez White are the 2 trustees who are designated for the interim superintendent recruitment and superintendent recruitment selection.
Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second.
So it's for both.
Yes, I made a motion for both.
Yeah,
For which one?
My motion was for both.
for both trustees.
For both trustees, but for also both interim superintendent and superintendent.
Oh.
Oh, I thought it was just interim.
Oh.
Then we got to bring it back again. So I can change my motion, but then we're gonna have to make sure that we bring it back once we then go into the superintendent search of what our criteria is. And
Well, I don't think we're
I'm
there
fine,
yet
but-
because we don't know if we're going to be using
Right.
a
There'll
firm.
still be 2 trustees running the process.
Yes, so I guess the question is, are we gonna maintain the same 2 trustees or?
I feel like if you want to do it in 2
Accepting
separate.
the role of the board president, I just assumed that I will be doing a lot of work anyways, so I am fine with that, but I don't want to put that on Jenny.
To be honest,
But if you are
I
willing-
I'm kind of conflicted because like part of me loves the idea of jumping in and like doing that, but at the same time, I am still in this obviously honeymoon phase where I'm not quite 100% sure what everything entails. So I don't want to like overcommit and then not be able to do as great of a job for like the long haul one. But there's part of me that
I
just
can
wants to
appreciate that.
jump
I-
in. But
Okay, I'll amend my motion, and then we just, as a board, need to know that it's gonna have to come back to be voted on to then make that decision. So, my motion is to nominate Trustee Candelario Orr and President Trustee Lopez White to do the interim superintendent recruitment and selection process.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Garrison. And we have a second with the amended motion.
Yes, I will second.
Okay. And a second by trustee Mendoza Torres. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And no one is absent. And with that part of it, do we want to start the conversation now about the superintendent's search, for the full extent of it, or do we want to leave it at this, continue to have this agenda topic on our meetings, and we'll probably have special meetings that will come up to do this, to go into the specifics of a superintendent search further. I feel like my opinion is that we put the bigger conversation down the road on hold to where we have more
I
engagement,
think
but-
if we're gonna not discuss the superintendent search recruitment tonight, then it definitely has to be on the January, because with all the stakeholders that we're gonna wanna get involved, if we do decide to go with a search company, they do a lot more community involvement,
outreach.
so outreach and surveying and gathering data and all that kind of stuff, and that will take a lot longer, so.
Can I propose for the superintendent search that we, or I guess, can we come back and get, or have two people looking for firms and getting quotes and also talking to SCO? And just gathering that information, like not
So we
the
have
list.
the basics ready when we open
where
up
it's
this
like,
conversation.
here's what I heard about 3 firms, here's their rates, here's what they offer, the services they offer. And then moving forward, I feel like will get us prepared for, okay, are we going with a search firm? Are we going with SCO? And then outline.
I think at the very least, we have to choose the two trustees who are moving forward with superintendent search. And those two need to start the research on search firms and potentially including SCO as one of those. Or deciding the outline of how they're gonna do the process themselves to save the district that money. Those are the
But if
options
we're
for them
already
to look at.
asking trustees to possibly look at a few search firms and SCO for interim, why could those trustees not ask that question when they're doing their initial,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
totally
I'm
fine
okay with that too.
instead of creating double the
It's
work?
hitting two birds, one stone, so to speak, at the time.
So
I just think there's the two that are gonna be moving forward with the process for superintendent should start doing their research now. And it may be some overlap in those trustees, but I don't know, I think they should start now.
If I may, January is when things start to post typically. And so you want to start it as soon as you can. I wanted to try to get pricing information just so that you would have an idea. And in the process, I reached out. Leadership Associates is the two really big ones in California are Leadership Associates and McPherson and Jacobson. They are the search firm that works with CSBA. So if you were thinking about using CSBA, this is who you'd be working with. They're a little less expensive, Leadership Associates, and I'll share these notes with you guys.
okay.
18 to 20,000, McPherson and Jacobson, 16 to 18,000. And then there is another local person, but I think it would be hard to convince him. He's 15,000. He does a really good job. Very homespun, Scott Mahoney. But he's currently working on the search for Ross, the superintendent of Ross and Marin. So he's in the middle of that. So those processes are starting now, and that's why my 2 cents is don't wait, just because the pool gets affected
So,
That-
how about we choose the two who are doing superintendent? They go do the research with these 3 plus SCO and come back. Can you come back at the January 4th meeting?
With the information.
And we make a decision on who we're going forward with so that we can have this posted
I am
by
comfortable with that.
mid-January?
Working with you, I can help pull that off. Yes.
Well, I'm saying, no, I'm not putting that on, I think that the two, unless you're
Gonna
volunteering
Continue.
to continue, I think it needs to be the two that are going to follow this through, who start getting in there. And it helps divide it a little. If you're not gonna be that other person, it helps divide a little bit of the work.
Because I feel like our searches, we're looking for 2 different pools.
Right,
Like,
we are,
An
but
interim pool is gonna be very different than our long-term, like, superintendent
But,
pool.
but
there could be
you're
overlap.
not, no, the two people that interim, we're done with.
Yeah.
Interim is
Right.
looking for a superintendent. Superintendent search trustees are looking for a firm and a process
right.
that then is going to search for a superintendent.
Yeah.
You're not to searching for a superintendent.
Well, I think I gather as bringing back information on what using a search firm would look like. I don't think we've decided on going forward with the search firm yet. I think that's a
No,
different
you
conversation.
bring back
but
proposals,
Bring back
costs.
the proposals.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are the different avenues forward so that we can make a decision early in January at a meeting we already have scheduled?
If you are comfortable, I am comfortable getting all that information. I feel like we'll already be making a lot of calls. I'm fine with it. I don't know. It's up to the rest of the board and you.
I know.
So adding the,
Adding,
request for
Request for
proposals
proposals.
to the two people that are already.
yes, bringing RFPs back to
Doing
the
interim.
board for search firms for the permanent superintendent job. Or,
I would just
as
say
well.
that my one reservation is, I really think that whoever the two that are going to be going forward running the superintendent process should be involved in that search for proposals. But if
okay,
I'm
so
the
you're
only one
saying-
that's
I mean,
concerned about that, then
Yeah.
I
you
don't
two
feel
go
like,
get proposals and bring them back, and then we'll choose two people that are gonna go forward
Well-
with superintendent. I have reservations about not
well, for me, I
getting
don't
those
have,
other two rolling.
I don't have reservations just because what is coming back to the board or what these two are going to search is then going to be delivered to the rest of the board. So I don't feel like
Or those,
that's going to be hard for someone else to pick it up if they want to go forward. And take
Can we
over.
just make that decision? Who wants to be the, other than President Lopez White, who wants to be the other trustee if it's not trustee Kendall, or who wants to
I'll
be the
help
other
with like
trustee
interim, but I think
that wants to move
long-term,
forward?
that's
Maybe,
kind of
can we
out,
make that
yeah.
decision tonight?
I'm fine if everyone else is comfortable and someone.
So I'd nominate trustee Lopez White and trustee Mendoza Torres to spearhead the superintendent search.
Okay. So we have a motion from trustee Addison nominating myself and trustee Mendoza Torres as the two trustees to spearhead the superintendent process, or what did you say, search?
Superintendent search.
Superintendent search. Do I have a second?
Sorry, is trustee Mendoza Torres okay with that?
yes.
We'll find out when we vote on it.
Well, yes. And step one is this, right? I'm trying to do a to-do list of like, okay, what do I have to do by January 4th? Okay. step one would be finding quotes and making sure that I have, okay.
So do I have a second?
And you're sure good with that before I second it? Okay.
I can do that.
I'll second.
Okay. And so we have trustee Orr, who second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And no one is absent? Do we feel like there's any more discussion at this point on this topic, or would we like to? Is
I got-
everyone comfortable with what we discussed tonight, and this will come back again, or this topic will come back again to continue the conversation once what we just delegated comes back?
Or, and I would just say that if trustee Lucas White and trustee Kindler or decide, okay, we're ready, we screened, we're ready, schedule a special board meeting, so then we can just do that automatically.
Well, and I'm fine with that too.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure everyone is comfortable with what was discussed and.
and we can add what we want to maybe the January meeting to discuss in more depth the superintendent, what we want in regards to the superintendent search.
Yeah.
So
That would be more criteria.
Yeah,
and
if-
things. Okay.
But I feel like the two trustees that are doing that search can work together to say, here's what we think we should have. We'll add it to the agenda, have the trustees have time to review it before the meeting.
Yeah.
And then at that time, we can also,
I'm really hot.
and maybe, yes, it's getting warm in here. Just kind of start that. But if we decide to go with a search firm or SCO, they might have also recommendations of what they would say we should include, that maybe we're missing something. So that could be kind of on the backside of it.
And once
And-
once I gather information and type it up, I submit to Kathleen to give, or do I submit it to you? Who would I submit it?
Right now, this is difficult, because Kathleen, I don't know her, why don't you send it to both of us? And then I can make sure that it gets out to other trustees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it would be just so that it's included in the
Passing
board
information
see.
too.
packet, and
CC,
that's,
included to both of us.
okay,
Yes,
both of
thank
you. So I'll
Yeah.
definitely contact you.
Yeah, we'll work together and on two separate things. I will.
Yeah.
And obviously, the one bridge will be you, which is, I mean, there's going to be overlap, like there's
Right.
no way around that, and it seems to make sense for that. But obviously, it's not
But
going
they
to
are
be a problem
two-
because we're interim, and then
Right,
this is just
they are two
long-term
very
superintendent.
different
Yes.
topics. So.
And now-
I would say there can't be overlap. You have two
No,
very
what-
distinct roles.
Oh, I just mean as in the work put in, like the agencies possibly contacted.
But you can't be part of a discussion
Right.
about agencies and
Okay.
about agency proposals.
And then-
Because you just created a Brown Act
Yep.
violation if you
Yep.
are.
Okay.
You have to stay very much in your lane or you've
Okay.
broken the law.
Okay.
Yeah, so there won't be any discussion
I'll
with
send it to you, Kathleen.
either.
Send it to both of us, that way we'll
Okay.
just make sure.
I just, yeah, no, I think this needs to come back though. Because I imagine there will be public comment in the future. People are gonna wanna be involved, so.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure who I was sending so that there's no Brown Act violation.
The board meeting is on the 18th, so we would need it by, let's just say, the 9th. If we-
Need what?
January 9th?
For
if we
the-
get- If we get information by the 9th, it needs to go in the packet for the meeting on the 18th.
I thought we were shooting for the 4th.
Oh, sorry.
That's a special board meeting, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
but is this?
That's fine, we can put that in if we need to, if we want to.
If we want
I
to
don't
be
know
at
how
mid-month
long.
with advertisements,
Yeah.
we have to approve it early in the month.
Well, I'm just throwing this out there. I think there's a process that we're gonna have to decide after we get those numbers
Oh, yeah.
before posting a position, before we were making a post for a position.
Process is, the position is the position.
Okay,
The process is then what evaluates everything that comes into that position. The position is the position. We could write the position tonight.
Right, so, but
position is the position, but we have to know how we're moving forward with it so that we can approve posting that
right,
early in January so we can get it out.
But if we're using a search firm or SCO, do you have to post it because they're the ones?
they're doing it, but unless we
That's
want to
what
do it
these
ourselves.
guys are gonna find out, right? I mean, I would
Well, we're
hope we
bringing
would have
back-
information about that on the 4th from you guys.
We can put an interim position on EdJoin as well, because there are probably people looking around, with the criteria, so we can go that route. You can, contact people on the list. You can contact search firms and find out if they provide that service and if they'll include it. But that's probably not fast enough. But if you hire a search firm, they will work in terms of posting in EdCal, and a lot of the search firms have like a stable, or they have reach. So they have a way to attract a broader pool. It's not just advertisement. So all those things they'll do. They might ask for your help with timing it to get it into a certain issue of EdCal, which comes out every month, but you have to just any paper, you have to submit it by X date. So, but if you're talking about the interim, then there are things that are immediate, like EdJoin. You can get it on the same, posted on the same day.
So you guys might want to do that too, as well
Yep.
as those other sources.
I'll gather all my information and give it.
And we're shooting for the 4th. So we'll build that into the agenda. That and
I just think it
expulsion.
needs to be on the
So then,
agenda until it's fulfilled.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, at the very least, we're gonna have,
Every whatever meeting.
so for the 4th, when would you need the information, though, to get it into the board packet?
It's a special meeting.
I understand.
But, oh my lord, I don't know if Kathleen's not working. How are we gonna do this? Or she's only working a little bit. Get it to us, so it's, with a special meeting, it's 72 hours notice. And, hold on,
I mean, that's New Year's Day.
yeah, and my sister's treatment starts, on December 27th. So for me, I would prefer to get it to me, you get it to us before that date.
Which date?
Like, if I get it on the 26th, I can probably help pull together a board packet, if I have to. It's going to be harder once we hit the 27th, because I'm going to be tied up with family things. And this is not part of my work calendar, but I want to make sure that this gets, without Kathleen, I want to make sure this gets done. So I will talk to Kathleen and try to figure out how she and I can work together, because she's working on projects. I just don't know how much availability she has. So that gives you less than 2 weeks.
Gives you all day Christmas.
Yeah.
It's
I
phone
mean, in a
calls.
perfect world, knowing Gabby, because you're very efficient,
Como
if
que
you
no,
could get it to me
Gabby?
on the 23rd, that would be the best. So that gives you, yeah.
No, it's a great intro email and phone call.
When do you guys go out for winter break?
Friday.
Okay, so is everyone comfortable with this, leaving it at this for now? We have more information coming back, hopefully shooting for the 4th of January's meeting with information and bringing this back for that meeting as well.
Okay, well, we got the ball rolling.
Does anyone feel like there's anything left unsaid that needs to be in this conversation right now? Okay. And we already have 2 motions on that, so I don't need to call for any other motion.
We already
Right.
voted on both
Yeah.
of them.
We already voted, so we're good on those. Okay, so moving on to future agenda items. So we will add the superintendent search policy for future agenda items. So it comes back every time. Does anyone have any other future agenda items they would like to bring forward at this time? Yeah. Okay, so the next board meeting, it says to be determined, so it is January 18th is our next regular board meeting.
January 4th is a special.
January 4th, we will have a special board meeting also. Would anyone like
I move to adjourn.
at 10:12?
See, we didn't need 11:15.
Okay,
I'll second.
sorry, that's okay. Trustee Garrison motioned to adjourn the meeting at 10:12 p.m. and trustee Mendoza Torres seconded. And all in favor? Aye. Opposed? And no one is absent. And we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Beth, for staying for the long haul.